Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I make one of Etsy's trendiest items at the moment. You may see it on sweatshirts, you may see it on t-shirts, and it's the neckline embroidery. So super cute, super trendy at the moment, and it's on a kid's rabbit skin sweatshirt. So I have an Etsy 1900. It's a single needle brother basic beginner machine. I'll be showing you how I digitize for the name on Embrilliance and how I put it onto my Etsy 1900 in order to embroider it onto this sweatshirt. So let's jump over on into Embrilliance and I'll show you guys exactly how I get this to work. Alright guys, so we're on Embrilliance and this is the digitizing software that I use. If you're not familiar with anyone, basically this is like a pretty simple beginner friendly embroidery software. I use it for my Etsy 1900, and if you don't have any embroidery digitizing software, you should try this out. It's Mac friendly, and I know that a couple of them are not, so it'll be down in the link below. So give it a try it out. It's worth it. But the first problem that I see here is that I'm using the 5x7 hoop, so I'm going to switch out my hoop to a 4x4. And basically, I'm just going to be using the 4x4 hoop because I'm just doing a neckline, so I don't really need that much embroidery space. So we have our 4x4 hoop. I'm going to pick a font. And lately, I've been using this font. I bought it from Etsy. It's called like Stub Muffin. If I can find who I bought it from, I'll list that below too as well. So, okay. We have the font, and I'm going to type in the name Trinity. And as you can see, at 1 inch, it's already too big. So I'm just going to downsize the size of the font. So I can make it a little bigger than that. And then, of course, we're going to have to curve the font so that it can fit onto the neckline. So I'm going to go to this circle right here, the text on a circle. So that's what it's called. I'll click that, and then I'll click place on bottom. So this right here, it basically curves your text, and I like to range from between like 50 and 70 when I'm curving the names for the neckline. So the higher you go up, the longer the name will get, like the more straight it'll get, but the lower the number is, the more curved it'll get. When I'm doing this, I also like to add space to the name. You can add space to the name by using this little scroll bar over here, or you can actually click on certain letters that you will want to change and just drag them like that. When you click this one at the bottom, it drags them evenly, so that's better other than clicking the one in the middle and they'll kind of be kind of scattered. So, like I said before, I like to keep it from 50 to 70 for my radius when I'm doing the curved name. So the next thing we'll do to make sure that it's perfect, well, good on the neckline is to add a 3-point line. So you go over to the Create tool, you'll click Run Stitch, then you'll click Draw with Points. So once you do this, now you're able to drop down points anywhere on the frame and be able to make a line. So we're going to make a run stitch basically with 3 points. So I'm going to start off on the top of the name, well, it's the first letter on the name. Then you're going to want to come down to the middle. And I'm going to click over here on the end. And then you're going to come up to the last letter. So I'm going over on the Y. So this right here basically is drawing your curve. And it's basically going to like replicate your curve on your neckline. So after that, I'm going to click Run Stitch. And then I'm going to get out of this. So Embrilliance been having a little glitch. So it didn't darken up my curve. So I'll just do that again. And here it is. So as you can see, we have a little. So as you can see, we have the curve right here for the neckline. So make sure that you guys, when you do your curve and you do your name, make sure that there's 2 different colors so that you can actually see where the curve is. So this curve, like I said before, is going to replicate the neckline of the shirt. So it's going to be a test stitch that's going to give 3 dots for where our name will actually land at on the shirt. Alright, so that's this. So this is basically how I'm going to set this up on Embrilliance. I'm going to export this onto my USB drive to put this onto my SE1900. If you have any questions about how to get your files from your computer to your SE1900 or your embroidery machine in general, I have a video about that, and I'll link that in the cards, and I'll also link that down below. So watch that video if you're interested in that type of stuff. Alright, let's get over to this embroidery machine. Alright guys, before we get over to the embroidery machine, I forgot to tell y'all that with the test stitch, so you're going to click the test stitch, and you see that it'll have 35 stitches. That's way too many stitches for something that's a test stitch. So what we want to do is lower the amount of stitches that the machine is going to actually make for your test. So we'll go back into creating designs, and then we'll just take the length of the stitches up. So when you take the length of the stitches up, it actually drops the number, and the number is now 16. I'm sorry, my windows all keep popping up. But you'll see that the number right here is 16, and that's a good number for the test stitches because we will be taking those test stitches out. Again, you just want to make sure that the curve is accurate and is right before you actually place down the name onto the shirt or the sweatshirt and stuff. So 16 is a good number. And now I'm going to export this and put it onto my embroidery machine. Alright, yeah, so I have my sweatshirt already on the hoop, and basically I just floated the 4x4 hoop and put it on here. I also have a video about floating and not floating, so I'll put that up and put that below too if you're interested in it. So I'm going to put my sweatshirt onto the machine. And of course, you're going to want to make sure that there's no fabric underneath. So I just move everything on the sweatshirt above. Okay, so once that's all sorted out and the fabric is not underneath, you're now good to go. And now you're going to be trying to figure out where exactly this name is going to be going on the neckline of this shirt. So now that we're in, alright, so we're finally on the embroidery machine. And as you can see, we have the file pulled up. I clicked that it's a 4x4 hoop. And since we have the sweatshirt on here as well, now this is basically our time to find where the name will go on the sweatshirt. Alright, so we're going to have to rotate the name. And we're going to want to, of course, rotate it 90 degrees because of how it's placed on our embroidery machine. And then we're going to take it up 30 degrees so it can have a curve. So 1, 2, 3. Maybe 40 degrees. Alright, so we're going to click and edit, and then this second box right here in the middle, this is like kind of like a tracer tool, and this is where having a single needle and not having a laser is kind of like, ugh, but it's whatever. So this tool, it'll track wherever your design is, and basically it'll show you where it will be on the sweatshirt. So as we can see, when we push the one further to the left hand side, it'll show us that some of the name will start right here. When we go further on the right hand side, it'll show us that the design will end over there. So if we see that, so basically this is just your time to just move this around and see where everything at. When we click the center, it tells us that the end will be right here on the sweatshirt. So we know right then and there that it's kind of like too close to the neckline for me. I like to say like the top of my finger. I don't know what you would call this part of your finger, but the top of my finger, I usually like to stay that length away from the collar so that it still has some space. So I want to actually move my embroidery file down some. So basically, like, using the rotate tool gives you access to figure out where you want it. And this is just when I start to play with it and see exactly where I want my file. So as of right now, it looks pretty cool to me. And now I can do the test stitch. So the test stitch is when we click embroider. And this is the 3-line stitch that we had made in Embrilliance. So I'll skip over to that. And I can start making my test stitch on the collar of my sweatshirt to see if this placement is right where I would want it to be. Alright, so we have our test stitch down, and I'm going to take this off the embroidery machine so that you guys can get actually a look at this. So you'll be able to see that this is where the name will run along the sweatshirt. And me personally, I feel like it may be a little too low because this is where the T will start and it'll go up like that. So I don't like this test stitch, so maybe I'm going to want to take it up a little bit more, maybe closer to the neckline. So I'll do it over and we'll see where the second test stitch lands, and maybe we'll be good with that one. But this is the benefit of doing a test stitch. So before you actually get the name onto the sweatshirt and it's wrong, you won't actually be wasting one. Alright, y'all, so we got the sweatshirt back onto the embroidery machine, and basically we're just going to rotate it a little bit more. Rotate it a little bit more again. So I'm thinking that I want to actually bring it down. So I'm going to go down 10%. Well, 10 degrees. Press OK. And then I'm going to use this just to see where it's at. So this right here is basically just playing with the rotation and lining of the necklines just to make sure to see if you like it or not. So this is going to be a little bit back and forth-ish. And again, I'm going to do the test stitch. So I'm going to skip this and start my test stitch to see if this is where I like it on the sweatshirt. Alright guys, so as you can see, after 3 attempts, I finally got the right curve. And the one that I'm going to go with is the one in the middle. You probably can't see it because of all these other curves. But how I take the test stitches out, I just use my weeding tool from my Cricut machine. And then I just grab the end of one of the threads, and I just pull. And they come out fairly easy. But this is why it's good to lower the number of stitches that you make when you do the test stitch. So the 16 works out good instead of the 32. And then when I get to the end, I just cut it. And then I'm just going to do the same for the other test stitches. And then I'll go around to the back and I'll cut all of the extra bobbin pieces and thread bumps that were there from making the test stitches. And your sweatshirt is good once you remove all of the thread. Because the jump stitches were so big when we did the test stitches, it doesn't really land too many times on the sweatshirt. So they're easy to pull out. You can see. Alright, so I'm going to get this back on the embroidery machine. And now that I have the curve correct, I can just embroider the name now. Alright guys, so now it's finally time to embroider. So of course I'm going to click the green button and we can start embroidering the name. is finished finally. And let me zoom out. Alright guys, so it's finished and this is it. I'm going to take it off of the 4x4 hoop so you can really see the full sweatshirt. This is it when it's done. And yes, I know this was quite a lot of work, but this is the cost when you have a littler machine. But it was able to be done. So how I'm going to finish it off, I'm just going to cut the jump stitches. And then I'm going to put some tender touch in the inside. Right here on the neckline. Because the kid will be wearing this. And boom, it's ready to go. So, yes. Alright guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have any questions or anything like that, please leave it down in the comments. I'm looking forward to being back on YouTube. I took a little bit of a break off, but I'm back and I'm ready. If you guys got any more video that you guys will want me to try out, or anything that you want me to show you guys, whether it's embroidery, DTG, vinyl, anything garment making, let me know. Leave it down in the comments. All right, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.